Hello everyone, this is video 2 of our multi-part series of the sustainable goal of providing a quality education around the world. As you may know, a large issue in regards to education is the lack of infrastructure resources, most importantly, electricity. This video is going to tackle the importance of electricity in regard to quality education and present it to you by our electrical engineer, Hamidou Haj.
As the United Nations puts it, education is the goal that will allow many other Sustainable Development Goals to be achieved. Sustainable Development Goal 4, which is quality education, focuses on ensuring inclusive and equitable quality education. However, it faces major challenges. Few of these challenges include lack of infrastructure and lack of electricity. We're going to dive into these problems and then talk about the solutions. The causes of poor school infrastructure can be many, but the major reason is lack of funding. The UNESCO suggests a minimum of 4% GDP to be put into this. However, many countries across the globe fail to meet this criteria. This is one of the major problems that results in the lack of infrastructure. Another major problem is lack of electricity. Lack of electricity obviously means no access to digital resources. This creates a digital divide in education between urban areas and rural areas. This is already a very big problem. And not only that, but electricity also hinders education by limiting studying time, by making classrooms not accessible or feasible for students, and just overall leaving a part of society behind. As we can see in this graph provided by UNESCO about the government spending on education as a share of GDP, many countries fall below the 4% figure given by UNESCO. However, there are some countries that go over and beyond. For example, particularly in Europe, in the Scandinavian region, and in North America. However, there are a lot of countries that fall below this. For example, Indonesia. Indonesia only contributes 1.28% of their GDP as part for education. This has resulted in over 4 million people being left without education. Because of this low spending, it makes it hard to improve facilities, train teachers, or update the curriculum.
Okay, so as you can probably see, education is the very cornerstone of civilization, and the unequal distribution of education, or worse, the lack thereof, can cause a lot of problems. So how do we, and yes, you, my dear viewer, go about solving a problem that has persisted for so long? After all, education cannot exist in a vacuum. It requires infrastructure, it requires technology, and it needs to be designed with humans in mind, or else it won't be considered a solution. So that's where engineers and their expertise come into play. Designing and constructing buildings, school buildings, and hospitals with cheaper materials than older buildings is a great benefit. But also, the fact that these buildings are now built with new protections against natural disasters, floods, earthquakes, makes them a lot safer for students to study inside of. Not to mention, something as simple as electricity can drastically improve how much education is done by the students, therefore increasing the quality of it. As you can see from this graph over here, the electrification of certain countries has increased the amount of people who are completing primary school education. Alongside this, in another graph that is represented here, the countries with a higher level of electrification, or areas with electricity, have shown that the youth literacy rate is actually a lot higher compared to the countries with lower electricity.
Thank you for watching the end of this video. In the next video, we're going to be speaking about another part of infrastructure, but mostly regards to supplies and how we can provide a quality education rather than just an education for all. Thank you.